My last video was showcasing my Bob on Battlefield remake, which was released as an update for my recent Castle Grounds remake. In that video, I presented everything new and different to this ROM hack, and I've noticed that some of those changes and additions have left some people with negative opinions. I'm not making this video as an addressing the controversy kind of video, but rather a video just talking about all the changes I made and explaining why. I'll start off by saying I completely get it, because when you're used to something, especially something you've been doing for about 30 years, you don't want it to change because now that it's different, it's a lot harder to get used to. My goal when creating this remake is to make Super Mario 64 in a new style, but not just that, I want to change the game in a way that makes it not feel like Super Mario 64 anymore. I want to give the players a unique and new experience. The first changes I'll talk about are the moveset changes. If you've played it or seen my video, you'll notice that Mario now has a spin move mapped to the B button, instead of diving, punching, or kicking. I wanted to add the spin move that was in Super Mario Galaxy, as it's a great way to get height while in the air. As for why I replaced the diving with it, this is a change based on the Mario games released after Super Mario 64 and my personal opinion. In Mario games like Galaxy and Odyssey, diving was not present. I'm not aware of the reason Nintendo chose to remove it, but I never found a major use or advantage of using it over long jumping while playing Super Mario 64. Overall, the difference between repeated diving and repeated long jumping is very small, so I opted to remove it as well. As for replacing punching and kicking, this is also a feature that was not present in Galaxy or Odyssey, and even Sunshine. So I opted to take this move out as well. Although I do find punching enemies and boxes on the ground to be a great feature for combat, so I made the spin jump usable as an attack while on the ground, as well as in the air, just like Galaxy. I understand why some people would be upset to see diving be missing from this remake, as it took me a while to get used to it, but I figured it was for the best as to make platforming and combat more simple. Spinning after a long jump also allows the player to jump over much wider gaps. I also included the ground pound jump, which has already been included in various ROM hacks and does not obstruct the flow of platforming. Lastly, I added the ground pound dive, which has also been featured in other ROM hacks. Although not incredibly useful in platforming, some people enjoy this move, so I thought it'd be a nice addition. Now on to Mario's voice lines. I've seen some people say that they prefer the original Super Mario 64 voice compared to what I changed it to, and honestly, I don't get it. I will say a few voice lines sound a little odd, like the "here we go" sound. Here we go! But until I find a better one, that's the one I'm using. There have been comments saying that they don't like the new voice lines, and even one comparing it to Mickey Mouse, but I took these sounds from Sunshine and Mario Kart Wii, where the voice sounds just fine, and that's what Mario sounded like for the majority of his existence. I specifically opted to use more modern sounds for Mario, since I changed his model to be the modern design. In Super Mario 64, Mario's voice is slightly deeper and not as happy sounding as the games that followed it, so hearing those sounds come from a modern looking Mario felt very odd. The last addition and also change that I made was the power mushroom. I've heard nobody even mention this, so I assume it's not something people don't like. The reason I added this was that I felt that healing was too easy in Mario games, specifically Super Mario 64, since you could heal just by collecting coins, which are everywhere. This isn't so much of an issue in games like Galaxy or Odyssey, as you only have 3 to 6 health, and in Galaxy, coins are not as common to come by, but in Super Mario 64, Mario has 8 health, and coins are extremely easy to find. This made it much harder to die, so I settled on 6 health, and a new way of healing. Now Mario can only heal by collecting the power mushroom, which is contained in a pink question mark box and only appears twice in Bob on Battlefield. The mushroom heals 2 health wedges and respawns 2 minutes after being broken, which means the player can't just stand there waiting for the box to come back so he can heal again without getting bored or speeding up the emulation. I feel like this makes healing a little harder. It means the player may have to backtrack in order to heal, which means they need to try harder not to get hurt so they don't have to keep healing. Like I said, I haven't heard anything regarding the power mushroom, so if you could let me know what you think of this new healing system, that would be great. I'd love to know how I can improve things, because there might be flaws I don't see. That's all for the changes and additions I made. I just wanted to go over these to clear things up and hopefully stop the comments about punching being gone. There is one last thing I'd like to say, which is that I've been making small changes to Bob on Battlefield's model. They're just little things to make it look slightly better. You also may have noticed that I used vertex shading for Bob on Battlefield, but not the Castle Grounds, so I've been working on adding that. Whenever it's done, I'll release another update, but you've probably already played it, so you won't need to download it. It shouldn't be long, but I've been trying to take a little break these past few days since I spent a whole month working on Bob on Battlefield nonstop. Well, that's all. Bye.